Hello, everybody. My name is Gina Harris, and in this video, I'll be discussing the main three similarities and differences between personality disorder clusters as described in the DSM-5 and the videos we watched this week. I'll explore why cluster B disorders share overlapping features and why understanding the distinctions within cluster C is important, and whether someone can have more than one personality disorder at the same time. Similarities and differences between clusters, as described in the DSM-5 are groups of the 10 personality disorders into 3 clusters, A, B, and C, based on the patterns of behaviors and inner experience that differ from cultural expectations, as seen in the DSM-5 American Psychiatric Association 2022. Cluster A includes paranoid, schizoid, and schizotypical personality disorders. These disorders are characterized by odd or eccentric thoughts, behaviors, social detachment, and cognitive distortions that make forming relationships difficult. Cluster B includes borderline, antisocial, histrionic, and narcissistic personality disorders. These are often labeled as dramatic, emotional, or erratic, and they are marked by impulsivity, unstable relationships, and difficulty regulating emotions. Cluster C includes avoidant, dependent, and obsessive-compulsive personality disorders, which involve anxious and fearful behavior patterns rooted in insecurity, perfectionism, or fear of rejection. Although all 3 clusters involve maladaptive and inflexible traits, they differ in an emotional tone. Cluster A tends toward withdrawal and mistrust. Cluster B reflects intense emotional instability, and Cluster C focuses on chronic anxiety and fear-based coping. Why Cluster B disorders share so many similarities. Cluster B disorders overlap because they share core of emotional dysregulation and identity instability. Individuals with these disorders often experience rapidly shifting moods, impulsive behaviors, and volatile relationships. The DSM-5 notes high levels of neuroticism, impulsivity across Cluster B, along with fragile self-esteem, as you can see in the DSM-5 American Psychiatric Association 2022. The video content highlighted that although each disorder looks differently outwardly, they stem from similar internal struggles. Borderline personality disorder involves fear of abandonment and emotional chaos. Antisocial personality disorder expresses instability through disregard of others and aggression. Narcissistic personality disorder hides insecurity behind confidence and grandiosity. Histrionic personality disorder uses charm, dramatization, and attention seeking to gain approval. Understanding the shared mechanisms is important for treatment, as many respond to therapists that focus on emotional regulation, distress and tolerance, and interpersonal skills. Ronningstam 2016. Why is it important to understand the differences in Cluster C? Well, recognizing the differences within Cluster C matters because while all 3 involve anxiety, the source and function of that anxiety differ. Avoidant personality disorder involves fear of rejection and humiliation, even though the person deeply desires social connection. Dependent personality disorder centers on fear of being alone, leading to excessive reliance on others for reassurance and decision making. Obsessive compulsive personality disorder reflects a need for control, order, perfection that can become rigid and self defeating. As Hooley in 2021 explains each of these disorders and represents a distinct way of managing insecurity. Treatment must therefore be individualized. Exposure based CBT for avoidant personality disorder, assertiveness and autonomy work for dependent personality disorder, and cognitive flexibility training for obsessive compulsive personality disorder. Misunderstanding these nuances can result in reinforcing the very defenses that maintain the disorder. Personalities can co-occur within and across clusters and is very common. Personality pathology exists on a dimensional spectrum rather than in isolated categories, as you can see in the DSM-5-TR, American Psychiatric Association 2022. Common pairings include borderline and histrionic personality disorder, which both involve emotional intensity and unstable attachments. Narcissistic and antisocial personality disorders, where entitlement and lack of empathy overlap. Avoidant and dependent personality disorders, which share underlying fears of rejection and abandonment. These combination occurs because these individuals often express overlapping trait dimensions, such as negative affectivity, detachment, and disinhibition. Rather than a single discrete disorder, clinically identified these patterns help tailor interventions to address the broader personality organization rather than focusing on one diagnostic label. In summary, the three clusters share common thread of enduring inflexible traits that cause distress and impairment, but they differ in emotional style and behavioral expression. Cluster B disorders are similar because they originate from the same emotional and identity instability, while the subtle differences within cluster C may be recognized to ensure effective personalized treatment. Finally, co-occurring disorders are common and remind us that personality traits exist on a continuum rather than within rigid boundaries. Thank you all for listening.